Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I have a guest on from West Georgia Health, and also I have a guest on from Life South. So stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment.
Why United Way? Because 99 cents of every dollar donated to United Way of West Georgia stays right here to help your neighbors. Yes, 99 cents. United Way makes every penny count. You can count on United Way, and United Way of West Georgia is counting on you. Please give today.
The next time you see a serious accident on the highway or read about a natural disaster, remember this: it's the blood donors who donated long before the event who saved lives. Donate blood today and you can become tomorrow's lifesaver. Call Life South toll free at 888-795-2707 for more information.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have two young ladies on that talk about a very important subject, and that is giving blood. I have, first of all, the supervisor of the blood bank, Ellen Eisenbarth. Ellen, welcome to the show.
It's good, nice to be here. Thank you.
Very good. And I also have on the recruiter for Life South, I have Jenny Gardner. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with both you ladies. And I think, Ellen, I think you and I had an opportunity to sit down last year and we talked about this subject. And it is something that is very, very, prevalent in our community. It's something that's very needed in our community, and that is giving blood. But before we get started in that, I just want to talk a little bit about your role as the supervisor there at the blood bank, if you don't mind.
I'll be glad to. I have a wonderful job. I enjoy it so much because every day is different. I've been in medical technology since 1974, and I am specifically in blood bank now and have been for the last 2.5 years. The blood bank serves the hospital. It serves the outpatients that come to the hospital in the chemotherapy area or some of the nursing homes if those patients need blood. So the blood bank gets a sample from that patient, and then we work from that sample and provide the right blood to the right patient at the right time.
There's so many great things you're talking about, right blood. I want to come back to those points that you just made about the right blood here in just a moment, Ellen. So if you don't mind, we're going to hold that, okay? But Jen, I want to jump over to you. You're
Sure.
the recruiter for Life South. What is Life South?
Well, Life South is your community blood provider. We are I'm with the East Region.
Okay.
We are in Opelika next to East Alabama Medical Center. And we go out every day to do nothing more than to collect blood and process it and provide a good supply for our community.
Okay, all right, processing it. Let me ask now, ladies, how did the match between West Georgia Health and Life South, how did that materialize?
Well, it came about in October of 2012.
Okay.
We had heard about Life South a year prior to that, but we had always been with another blood supplier, and because we were with Red Cross, we just felt that we wanted to not look at anyone else. But when we found that Life South was 30 minutes away in Opelika, that they could give us better service as far as getting products to us. And I know if you've ever driven in Atlanta, when the Braves are playing, when the Falcons are playing, when it's snowing, when there's 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 in the morning, it is difficult to get the products that you need through that barrier of Atlanta. And so we looked at Life South and saw that they could deliver much more rapidly to us. There are some products that we do keep on hand at our blood bank at West Georgia. We keep units of blood and we keep plasma, but we don't keep that very vital component, platelets. And those platelets are only good for 5 days, 2 of which are used with testing. So it would not be good stewardship for us to keep platelets that might expire in our hospital. So we don't. We rely on Life South to distribute that component for us. Okay. And when we call them, they delivered last night. We need them, they come, and we don't have to worry about what are the conditions in Atlanta. We know we get a better turnaround time, which is better service for our patients by using Life South, and that is really what made our decision. And we have been with them for 17 months, and I can tell you they have far exceeded all of our expectations.
Very good.
So I am here as their
You're their ambassador.
I am in their
cheerleader.
corner.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm in their corner because they have done for me what I expected and more.
Well, very good. Now, you were talking, Ellen, about the importance 30 minutes away. When you have someone that's there on the operating table or in the emergency room or whatever the case may be, how important is that 30 minutes away for you and for that patient, as opposed to having to try to navigate that traffic through Atlanta? Talk about that a little bit for us.
Well, it is extremely important. And in 99% of our cases, we are prepared for that patient who is coming in. The doctor is proactive. He will make sure that you get testing, and we refer to as a type and screen. So we get your blood type. We draw your blood and put a nice blue or green band on you. It has a specific number. It is your lock and key to that sample that comes to our blood bank, and we test that for your ABO type, and then we also test it for any unusual antibodies. And then we are able to provide that blood. We're in contact with the physician. You want to do a hip replacement next week? Yes, we have that blood for that patient. It's the emergency. It's the patient who has come in with that life-threatening event that we have to be prepared for. And we try to keep enough blood on our hand in our blood bank that we are covered for most emergencies. But I only have 9 units of O negative in my blood bank, and that's not all that much when somebody is really going through some blood. Right. So this is the thing. I can stop gap with what I have on hand, and then I call Life South and say, bring me more, get me more. And their consignment model is has been written up in the national magazine, the American Association of Blood Banks. Good. It talks about the most ideal consignment model, and it's used by Life South. It's very fluid. So they know what I have on my shelf. They know what the next hospital, I think it's Meriwether and it's Jack Houston in Columbus, and then there's East Alabama. They know what everybody has, so they can easily get it and bring it down to me, and it's very fluid, and there's never any waste. And that is to be commended, and I wish everybody would work that way because it is fabulous. Absolutely.
Well, you know, I understand that Life South has a pretty unique beginning, Jenny. If you don't mind, kind of share that with us, and I know that Ellen can kind of help chime in on that.
Sure.
Share that beginning of Life South there in Gainesville, Florida, I understand?
Gainesville, Florida, yeah.
All right.
They've actually been around since 1974. They started out with a Civitan. Help me out here, Miss Ellen.
Well, what happened with them with the hospital there in Gainesville, Florida said we're having some trouble meeting our needs, and they called all of their civic organizations together and set them all down and said, who can help us with this? Who is willing to take on this job? It is a job.
Oh, absolutely.
And the Civitan stepped up and said, we'll do it. And I believe they started with a door over 2 oil drums, taking people's names and putting you back here and
like
getting
in
it
a
drawn.
camper or something.
Yeah, very, very rustic to begin with, but they have grown and grown, and they service all of Florida. They service Alabama and a lot of Georgia, and they are a nonprofit. No one who gives blood through Life South is paid in any way. And I really want people to understand that when they receive that gift of blood, someone on the other end, that donation end, is thinking about you, because I see it when we have people who give in our blood drives at the hospital. They are excited to do that thing that only they can do. They can only give that blood. There's no artificial component. And when they give that unit of blood, it is divided in 3 ways. You get the packed cells, which are the oxygen carrying component of the unit, and you get a plasma component. That plasma component is used for patients who are maybe coming into surgery, been in an accident, and maybe are on blood thinner, where you want to correct that right away so that you don't have too much blood loss with your surgery. So you give them that fresh frozen plasma, and the last component taken from that unit that's donated is a platelet. And platelets are used with people who are going through chemotherapy. Their platelets will sometimes drop, and that's what stops the clotting. That's what makes the clot that you see. So all of those things are necessary, and everybody down to the last person who I've ever seen give blood, is excited to make a difference, to save a life, to make a change, and they only spend 1 hour and do it. Who can say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to lead me to my question. I was going to say, what is the most precious? Because so many times we ask the question, well, what is your blood type? You know, and I know mine is B positive, and other people, whatever they are. But then I was going to ask the question, what is the most precious? And either one of you ladies can kind of chime in. I think you already alluded to it there, Ellen. But what is the most precious blood type? Or the blood, most precious blood
Well,
type?
you know, the most precious blood type is the one that is needed by patients and provided by volunteers. You know, we go out every single day, 7 days a week, just to get this blood. And, you know, we never know what blood type is going to be needed that day. Who is going to be in an accident? Who's going to need that? You know, that's where I come in. She gets to see the blood actually given out, and I get to be the one out there begging for it and talking people into just educating them about it. It's so important.
And Ellen, you made the comment about a unit of blood.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you, Jenny, how much blood do we need? I mean, you set up drives.
I do.
What is your goal when you set up a drive? What is your goal?
It's unbelievable. Just my team itself has to bring in 17 pints of blood every single day. That's 7 days a week. And my region is the East region. We have 2 teams that go out on blood mobiles. We, you know, hardworking employees that work endless hours, go out every single day, all over the place to go to either businesses or churches or sometimes you see us at Walmart standing out in the rain or the cold or the snow, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
and, you know, because, you know, people are taking a vacation, the need for blood doesn't. And,
That's right.
you know, we do not close down on days, you know, Easter, we work all the time.
All the time.
So, I mean, it's really essential, but I have to bring in 17, the other team has to bring in 17, and then we have a center as well, that's in Opelika, and they do the platelets, and then they have also a goal for some red blood cells. And now that is only just for the 7 local hospitals here.
Okay.
And that's the minimum need. And
Okay.
it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. You know, I'm going to ask a question here, and then I'm going to ask this question and get you ladies to respond to it. And I think we're going to take a short break and come back because this is such an interesting topic, because I'm going to get more into the donation process itself, too. Is there a time that you see, I know that we've had some ice storms, snowstorms here lately, but is there a time of the year that you see that there's a greater need for blood than others? And either one of you ladies can chime in on that.
Absolutely. There's 2 of the main times would be summer. One of our biggest pools that we get a lot of our blood from is our students, our college students and our high school students.
Okay, interesting.
You know, we actually even have a program that we can go in and into different schools that is board certified, and we can teach them. It's called Donation Generation. You know, these students are actually, you know, these are our donors of the future. So we feel like education is very important. Of course, during the summer, the schools are closed and the students are gone, and it's hot in the South, you know?
Absolutely.
So, nobody really wants to get on there and donate, and so our donations, you know, do go down. That's where we really, really try to come to the community and ask for, you know, all of our businesses and our churches and any organizations that, you know, we can come inside. We even have mobile units that can come inside and we can set up so they don't have to go out in the heat and into the cold bus and then back into the heat into their cold business, you know. So we try to make it easy. We try to take the scary out of it too.
Yeah, I know.
You
Some
know?
people faint when they the
Yeah.
thought of giving blood.
That's what they say.
Oh, they're tough.
They're tough,
Yeah.
that's right. I tell you what, ladies, let me do this. Let me take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
And I want to come back and I want to talk a little bit more about the donation process. And also, Ellen, I want to talk a little bit about, because you've been in this business since 1974, I want to talk about some of the changes that you've seen that have come about as far as blood donation and various things, okay?
Okay.
All right. Ladies and stay tuned. We'll be back for more City Week in just a moment.
The next time you see a serious accident on the highway or read about a natural disaster, remember this. It's the blood donors who donated long before the event who saved lives. Donate blood today and you can become tomorrow's lifesaver. Call Life South toll free at 888-795-2707 for more information.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're sitting down with Eisenbart. I couldn't get that one out, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The supervisor of the blood bank for West Georgia Health, and also sitting down with Jenny Gardner with Life South. And ladies, we left off, we were talking a little bit about best time of the years to give. Jenny, if you don't mind, talk about the blood giving process itself, and then I want to ask Ellen about some of the changes that she's seen that have come about, okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, first, I was saying that summertime is really a difficult time to collect blood, but the other time is winter, which is where we're here now. And that's one of those things that, again, everybody's on vacation, all the businesses are, they're busy.
They're busy, that's right. Yeah.
But you know what? With all that traveling, people are getting in more car accidents, people are getting sick, they're getting the flu, they're getting, the need for blood is so much higher. And so I just wanted to emphasize the importance of that.
Okay.
The blood process is actually, it's extremely simple, and so many people, I stand out there and everybody tells me, I'm afraid of needles. Well, I'll be the first one to say I'm scared to death of needles. And as a matter of fact, my family thought it was the funniest thing in the world that I got this job, because I have a history of fainting with blood. It's not pretty, but you can overcome that fear when you realize that these are precious lives.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, the first time I actually was able to get my first donation in was for some people that I was a nanny for. And they had a premature baby that needed blood. And I was able to donate for him. And now, 16 years later at Auburn High School, he donated last year.
That's
and gave it back.
circle.
And
That's
it was
wonderful.
just the neatest thing. I have a picture of myself with him. And it was just like, Miss Jenny, I'm doing this for you because you
my
did it for me.
Well,
So once you get that vision that these are real people, it's going to, that scary goes away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but basically, all it takes, you have to have a photo ID. 16 years old can donate with parents' permission. We have forms.
Okay.
You have to weigh 110 pounds.
That excludes me.
I know, me too.
Lightweight there.
Right.
We definitely want you to eat. I try to educate people so much because everybody says, oh, I had a bad experience, I passed out, or this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Because a long time ago, I don't think people were really educated on that. But, we really try to feed them. We need to increase their blood sugar so that doesn't drop and they don't get dizzy. And we have an amazing team that our teams are wonderful and they're fun. And they make it so much fun that we literally have people that follow us around just waiting to donate back with us because they had such a good experience.
Very good.
You come in, you have to have a photo ID. You'll go through just a mini physical is what we call it, where they test your, they ask you a bunch of questions, travel history, medical. Of course, nobody that is sick could donate, or if you're on antibiotics. Coumadin would knock you out, but a lot of medications you can. Even diabetics can donate.
Oh, great.
So, a lot of people don't realize that.
Okay.
You go into a interview and physical, takes, I would honestly say that would be the longest process, the interview
Just
and
the
physical.
interview process? Okay.
Yeah, just the questions. It's very private. You are secluded. It's completely confidential. They will test your hemoglobin level. They will test your pulse, your temperature, and your blood pressure.
Okay.
Also, they will do, when they're doing the hemoglobin level, well, in Alabama, they can do your blood typing, and they do type your blood, and you'll find that out. I believe within 48 hours.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
Let me ask Ellen, because Ellen, because you've been here since in this field since 1974.
I was just a child.
You were just a child. That's right. Talk about some of the changes that you've seen, and also in that, talk a little bit about what happens if the wrong blood is given to an individual?
Okay. Well, that's something we certainly never want to have happen. But back in 1974, when you gave a unit of blood, that unit stayed in its entirety. Nice fat unit with your plasma, your platelets, and your cells all together. So if a patient came into the hospital and the physician decided he only wanted the plasma or he only wanted the platelets, then we would have to manipulate that unit through a centrifuge and pull off the required component that he wanted. Now we've gotten smarter. We've gotten smarter about finding the right fit for that patient. So you may come in and you may have enough fluid in your body. You haven't lost any fluid. You haven't had a major bleed.
Okay.
So you've got all this fluid, your normal volemic pressure, and what you just need is cells because maybe you're anemic. So you just need the cellular portion of that unit. Now every unit that is drawn is separated into those three components. The platelets are sequestered and tested for people who only need platelets.
Okay.
The plasma is taken off and frozen within 24 hours for those patients who only need that volume or maybe those coagulation factors that are in your plasma that can correct for problems that you might have. And then there's the red cells that stay on my shelf most often. And so that person that's anemic gets those. And I think that's a much better thing. What we do when we first see you is we band you and get a sample down to the laboratory, and then that sample is tested. It's tested for your ABO and RH type. Lots of people know their type. They think that they're O positive,
That's right.
and some people are O negative. That RH type is very important for pregnant women, and it's very important for patients that are coming in the emergency room, because the universal type that we give when we see someone in an emergency and we don't know anything about them is O negative, because everybody can take that with no problems. Now, there's a caveat that I have to say about that, because there are no problems except if there are antibodies, and we don't know that unless we screen for them.
Okay.
So we're doing the best possible product for you by bringing you in and giving you that O negative, but then we also want to test you and find out more about you, because we have seen people who develop antibodies.
Okay.
And just like when you get your flu shot, and you're wanting to develop an antibody to the flu to be able to fight it off. The same thing happens with blood that maybe you have received. And some people develop antibodies, and it's just naturally occurring antibody, and they haven't had a transfusion. And then we want to make sure that we match that blood with that patient as perfectly as we can. And this is where Life South has been a great help to me, because they do more screening, I think, than I've ever seen, and they have a terrific database. So if I call and I say I need an O positive unit and I need it to be Duffy negative and C negative and Kell negative, all of those things, they can go through their database and say, I've got it. It's in Montgomery. It'll be here by 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
It makes me so happy to have that ability right there at my fingertips. I just call them and they can fulfill my wish list.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me ask
They're
a
good at
question
it.
to both you ladies, and either one, both you ladies can chime in, because in your talking, Jenny, you were talking about the process. I want to ask the question: what's the frequency that a person can give, and then what is the life or shelf expiration of blood? So both you ladies there.
A donor can give every 56 days.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Red cells expire on the shelf every 42 days. Now, if you gave the first of the month, you can start counting. That is number 1 on your day calendar. But that blood unit is still going to be processed. It has to be divided into those 3 components, and it has to be tested for all of the things that you're going to test. That has really changed since 1974.
I'm sure.
A lot of different changes. So, of course, we test for HIV, and they test for all the different hepatitises. They test for West Nile virus. There's a litany list of tests that they do to make sure that that blood is as safe as it can be. And Jenny has alluded to questions about where you've traveled, because if you're in a high prevalence area for certain
like malaria,
things,
if you've been
they
on
will
mission
defer
trips,
you.
that type of thing.
Okay, they will defer you.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, mentioned a moment ago, Jenny, when you were talking about the college students in the summertime.
Absolutely.
And it being kind of hot. If someone comes in to do a blood donation and their body temperature has been elevated, would you suggest that they still give blood, or what do you recommend they do?
We're very good just to prepare our donors beforehand, because the last thing we want is for them to have a bad experience and not come back.
Right.
So oftentimes we feel like they're our family. You know, we are the community suppliers, so we like them to come in. We are always giving them drinks and cookies and juice, and we will have them sit there and just talk. We have education material for them to read. We have people that will stay forever and just, I mean, we do, seriously, they become our family. Our donors are our family. And so we always make sure that they are prepared. You have to eat at least 3 hours beforehand, but I'm one of these people who likes to make sure that they are really prepared, and I like to give them cookies and drinks and make sure that they're going to have the best experience ever. And even while they're donating, they're eating their snacks, and we always have a giveaway. They always get a t-shirt or a hat or a bag or something.
Very good. As we close out, ladies, I think that you all have a blood drive coming up. Talk about that for us real quick. Where, when?
We have a blood drive every day, in tons of different areas. The next time we're going to be in the actual LaGrange area, it's going to be at the Milliken plant, at the Valloway, and I believe it's going to be on February 27th.
27th.
I think that's
I
what
believe.
she said, yeah.
Yep. But we are always looking for new places. We've got a lot of support, but we really need some more.
All right. Well,
Yes,
very
and
good.
it's something that Jenny has told me in the past. If you want to give a blood donation and you want to give it in honor of somebody, maybe your mom or dad has been through cancer therapy and they've used a lot of blood. You might want to go to their church and say, Mom's made it, but she had 27 units of blood. Let's have a blood drive for her. And they'll make up beautiful posters and they'll publicize it, and people will come in joyfully and give back for mom or dad.
Very
and
good.
I think that's something we need to see more of.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, we have a very interesting topic here, and I'm hoping that the public will come out and give, because I think that it's something that is very much needed in our community. As donation of blood, and to have it being processed at a great location to come back to our community to serve the residents of Troup County and the 7 hospitals in our region is just remarkable. So I want to thank both you, Jenny, for the work that you do, and Ellen for the work that you do here in our community as well.
Thank you very
Well,
much for having us.
All right, and thank you all for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
All
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back for more City Week in just a moment.
The next time you see a serious accident on the highway or read about a natural disaster, remember this: it's the blood donors who donated long before the event who saved lives. Donate blood today and you can become tomorrow's lifesaver. Call Life South toll free at 888-795-2707 for more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from West Georgia Health. I had on the supervisor of the blood bank, Ellen Eisenbarth, and also from Life South, I had on Jenny Gardner, as they talked about the upcoming blood drive. And make sure that you come out and support them, because all the blood that they draw stays right here in our community or circulated throughout the 7 hospitals within the region. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better gift than you could give than the precious gift of blood. So I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews today. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.